Yo, what's up guys? I'm back. I'm going to be doing another breakdown and predictions video. This one's going to be for PFL 2023 number 4. And it's going to be kind of like a quick breakdown. It's not going to be my usual breakdown where I'm really going more in depth. If you want to have access to that, go to patreon.com. I have a full written breakdown over there. I got 4 bets already. And, but yeah, I mean, let's get into it. With this fight card, it's kind of a strange card. I feel like it's like, no one knew that PFL was doing drug testing or something this year because I didn't know. 10 of the fighters didn't know, I guess. So they kind of like fucked off their whole entire season. They got a bunch of weird matchups and things like that. But they're still going to be trying to, put on the shows and do that full regular season. But kind of just shows a little bit how, you only need a few things to go wrong when you have that type of format where you have to have guys fight 5, 6 times in 5 months for it to kind of ruin everything that you got going on. And I don't know how PFL can expect these guys to fight, so often back to back to back and not take steroids or something. So, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. We got this fight card, and the first fight's it's not a fight for the season. It's a prospect fight with PFL trying to build Alexei Pregandi. He's taking on Akeem Bashir, who's 35. He's going to be the hometown fighter. He's fighting out of American Top Team Atlanta, which a lot of guys on this card are fighting out of that gym. And Pregandi is undefeated, and he's a pretty slick striker. He also has good wrestling. And for Bashir, he is a grappler. It seems like his striking is kind of awkward and stands really tall. He'll throw like check hooks and rear crosses, but slow and plotty. I think Brandy is way better on the feet, and Bashir has pretty good grappling when he can get on top, and he will throw up some submissions from full guard, but he isn't a good wrestler, and off of his back he can be held down. But he is calm, and he is pretty composed, but Pregandi, I just feel like he should style on Bashir. I mean, on the feet he's a lot faster, and I just think he's going to be able to land that rear cross clean. I wouldn't be surprised if he becomes the first guy to knock Bashir out. And ultimately, though, I'm going to pick Pregandi by decision because I think it'll be a lot of grappling as well, wrestling being on top, and his opponent has never been finished. So I'm going to say Pregandi gets this one done by decision. And this next fight, this is kind of a tough one to break down here. We got Abby Montez, who's the chick that beat Clarissa Shields. And since then, though, she's lost 2 in a row. And she's taking on Brandy Hester, who's another American Top Team Atlanta product. And she's never fought MMA. She's 0-0, and she's a little bit older. I saw she graduated high school in 2002, so probably 38, 39, 40 years old. And she's, I believe, like 8-0 in Muay Thai, but I'm not sure when her last Muay Thai fight was. I couldn't find any of those fights online. And basically, what I found was she's a good athlete. Like, she was a good high school swimmer. She was a great runner. But besides that, I mean, I don't really know. It seems like she's mostly been a coach for elderly people, novices. But man, I mean, when you get the call to fight on ESPN, fight in your home state, it's probably hard to pass up on. And I don't really know how this opportunity materialized for Hester, but she got it, and she's going to be fighting for PFL against Montez here, who Montez, she lost by split decision in her last 2 fights to Olena Kolisnik and Maknikina, who are both pretty good. And she's 23 years old. She's fought way better competition. She's already shown that she can be a good striker by taking her down and being smart. So I'm going to pick Montez to mix it up here, and she'll probably have a significant advantage on the mat, maybe cardio as well. Hester, like I said, older, making her debut. You don't know if she's going to have an adrenaline dump. You don't know if she's not ready for this level. And I think Montez will either win by decision or she'll win by early finish if Hester's not really on that level, and you could tell quickly. But it's hard to really say anything about this fight. I mean, Montez is like minus 500, which makes sense when you see Hester's never fought and she's that age that she is. But hard to bet on it when you don't really know anything about Hester either. She could be a beast, who knows. But I think Montez should probably dominate and get this one done. And this next fight, this is one of the better fights on the card. We got an ex-Bellator guy, ex-Contender Series guy, and Taylor Johnson taking on an ex-UFC veteran and Andrew Sanchez. And Andrew Sanchez is going to be his debut in PFL. He got cut from UFC in October of 21, and he fought one more time since then. He fought for Eagle FC and beat Gabriel Checo. And Taylor Johnson, he won by first round knockout in his first PFL appearance, so he did well in that one. But the winner of this fight is probably going to be a frontrunner win the season. I'm not really sure how this is going with Sanchez, because I think he just kind of got added in because of all the PD issues and all that, and he probably has to get a finish or do something to get in. But these are two of the better guys at 205 that PFL has. And both these guys are former high-level college wrestlers. I think Johnson is a lot more reliant on the takedown. On the feet, he's dangerous early. He'll throw that overhand, the left hook, but kind of rudimentary striking. Good strikers can pick him apart easily, and he doesn't really have great cardio. He starts to make bad, he does bad things in the grappling. Like, he'll stick in positions where he just can be held down instead of trying to explode. Like, he'll shoot in on a double or single and just kind of like sit there on his knees instead of either trying to really go hard to finish the takedown or try to get out of that position somehow. He just kind of burns the clock. But Andrew Sanchez, I feel like he's the more technical striker, so this is going to be a fairly tough fight for Johnson unless he can catch him. Andrew Sanchez's chin is worrisome. He's been KO'd 5 times, so just needs to avoid being clipped. But he has that karate stance. He moves in and out, the 1-2s, 1-1-2s. He has a lot technical, sharper hands, faster hands. You'll throw nice lead hooks. He also has a decent kicking game. But I feel like Johnson's going to struggle to take him down because Sanchez, I've never seen him taken down ever. I mean, in the UFC, had 100% takedown defense. I don't know if he ever got taken down outside of the UFC before he joined there, but not that I've seen. But one thing I like about Sanchez, too, he's at AKA, which is a gym, obviously, that has explosive guys with overhands and great wrestling, and they're going to push you as well. He moved up to 205 after the UFC, so maybe that's going to help with the chin, with some of his issues in terms of cardio. And unless Andrew Sanchez gets clipped here, I think he's a better fighter, and he's going to win either late finish or by decision. So I'm going to pick Andrew Sanchez to get this one done and be successful in his first PFL appearance. In this next fight, I definitely got to go with Impa in this one. You look at Tim Karen, and I'm just not that intrigued. I don't really see anything that stands out too much to me. He has good kicks, but he lets himself get backed up. He's not a good athlete, or at least not as good of athletes at like PFL UFC level. And Impa, he's going to be bigger. He's going to be the better athlete, in my opinion, by a significant margin. He's going to be pressuring. I think he's going to have a lot better striking. He's going to be able to take down Karen when he wants to. And I don't see how Impa doesn't finish this fight. I mean, maybe he could get caught with a silly kick, but Karen doesn't even have that crazy explosiveness on his kicks where you're that worried that he's going to finish you with one shot. And he is a veteran, but whenever he's taken that step up in competition and kind of made it to a big-time moment, he's lost. So I think Impa's going to get the job done, finish him either in the second or third. I think Karen gets tired too. So Kasanganay is probably going to take him down early and then either TKO him on the feet later in the fight or finish him on the ground. So going to go with Impa Kasanganay in this one. I think he's going to get the job done, stay undefeated in the PFL, and kind of show that maybe he's going to finally reach that potential that people saw in him when he first started in the UFC. And up next here, we got another one that's kind of an interesting one. It's a tough one. I think Chris Wade's overpriced here at minus 265. He hasn't had a great last couple of fights, and Ryoji Kudo is not necessarily a guy that's been on a roll either. He lost his last fight too, but if Chris Wade can't get the takedown, it could be 50-50. When you look at Kudo, he kind of has that same kind of Japanese striking style where light on your feet real quick and try to bounce in and out and try to counter or land those drive-by crosses and things like that. And Kudo definitely has power in his hands. And Chris Wade's a guy that he's very durable and he has good kicks and his striking has gotten a lot better, good pressure, and obviously he has that solid overall wrestling game, especially anti-wrestling and ability to scramble and maintain cardio and things like that. But his setups for his takedowns could sometimes be a little bit awkward. And Kudo has good takedown defense in the clinch, where Chris Wade likes to finish a lot of his takedowns. So it could potentially be a hard fight to get to the ground. And if that's the case, then could end up being closer than a lot of people think. But at the end of the day, Wade, even if he's stuck on the feet, the threat of the takedown, it's going to make it competitive. And if Wade can't get it to the ground, he could probably bank that round and dominate pretty easily. I think Wade has proven more, and at this point I still got to go with him. But at this point in his career, he's getting a little older, and he's on a losing streak. And I don't think that he's one of the more trustworthy guys on the card in terms of a pick. But I'm going to go with Chris Wade by decision in this one. Extremely durable guy, and Kudo probably needs to knock out to win, so I'm going to pick Chris Wade. And this next fight, we got Ty Flores versus Dan Spawn. Ty Flores, he won at PFL 1. He beat Delon Monte by decision. Dan Spawn, he's coming in here on short notice, and the last time he fought MMA, it's been a while. His last fight was BKFC fight where he got finished by Chris Camozzi in the first round. He did win his last MMA fight against Daquan Townsend, if you remember Daquan from the UFC. But Dan Spawn, he's a guy that's been around, and he's pretty decent, like he has southpaw stance, okay kicks, decent timing with some counter shots, but stiff and doesn't really do the greatest against pressure. I think Flores can take some damage early, kind of wear him down, and land some strikes on Spawn, who's kind of a glass cannon and can get hurt pretty easily. And Spawn has okay offensive wrestling and grappling, but I think Flores can out-hustle him in the scrambles and can eventually start getting some takedowns himself. And if he can get on top of Spawn, I think he could finish him from that top position. So I'm going to go with Flores. I think he is younger. He's in a better spot in his career. He's been more active. He's more durable and has better cardio, and I think he'll be able to eventually get it to the ground and kind of finish the fight in the second or third round. But this is another one where I think there's probably a little bit better spots to target in terms of parlays and things like that, because Spawn has experience, he has some skills, and if he could time his body locks, he could potentially grind out Flores, but I just don't see him being able to control Flores. He lacks that composure sometimes in the top position, but yeah, I think for this one, I've got to go with Ty Flores inside the distance. And this next one, Marlon Moraes versus Gabriel Braga. This is a tough one, man. I mean, I don't know. It's like Marlon, if you want to bet on him again after getting TKO'd for the 6th time in a row, you got some balls, man, for sure. But I already made that mistake. I bet him against Shaman Moraes, his first PFL fight, and he was looking good. He was dominating that fight. He was hitting takedowns. He was using his evasiveness to kind of touch and go and pot shot, and you just ended up getting caught and taken out late in the fight, and just been the story of his career recently. His last fight, bad showing, really. He got dominated by Brendan Lofton, ended up getting finished with leg kicks and taking a lot of damage in the short period of time that he's been in the PFL in just the last few years. So to trust him, it's really hard, but he still has that offensive skill set. I mean, he's not quite as explosive, and he doesn't find that kill shot like he used to do early in the fights as well, but he still has that ability if he can land, and he can mix it up and get takedowns, but his top control is just not that good. But Gabriel Braga, he's fought really nobody up until this point, and his last fight was a real close fight against Jesus Pinedo. I guess is an okay fighter, but Braga was able to pressure him, use leg kicks, which I could see being very effective, especially with Moraes taking that leg kick damage just a couple months ago. And he kind of is like a straightforward, straight backward striker, square, so he's a little hittable, but he's tough, he has good counters, and brings that Muay Thai pressure and kicking, counter-punching game, and he has okay grappling. I don't really see him being able to take down or do much about that with Moraes, like getting on top, and his defensive wrestling has improved, but I wouldn't be surprised if Marley could take him down. It's just I don't know if Marley could control him on the ground. And ultimately, I mean, I think it's a dog or pass if you're brave enough to go with Marlon, because the line is just unplayable for Braga, who I don't really think is a great fighter at this point. He's still unproven, and Marlon is better everywhere. It's just you can definitely not trust that guy at this point in time. At least I can't trust him. So I'm going to pick Braga. I'm going to say he wins maybe uses leg kicks and then backs him up and finishes him in the second. But kind of a pass fight for me, this one. In this next fight, this is a good fight right here. Josh Rivera, he's taking on Delon Monty. And Josh Rivera, he's proven himself at this point to be a pretty solid guy at 205 and at 185. And he has that one loss so far to Mario Akhmedov, but outside of that, he's beaten everybody. He got a win against Martin Hamlet by knockout. He got a win again in his last PFO fight via first-round finish. So Silverio has been looking good. And when you look at Delon Monte, he is 1-3 or 1-4 in the PFL. He had that big upset win where he knocked out Emiliano Sordi in the first round, but all the other fights he's came up short. His last fight he lost by decision. He got out-grappled in that one and put on his back and couldn't really get up off bottom. He isn't a great on his back, even though he's good on top. But for Monty, the way he's going to win this fight is through his pressure on the feet. He has good pressure, and he actually has good accuracy on his overhands and on his hooks. He has decent power, but he doesn't really have a lot of variation, and Silverio is a lot better with the footwork, a lot quicker, a lot more evasive, and throws kicks. He's more dynamic, and he can mix it up and get takedowns too. And I don't see him giving up the takedowns from Monty. Monty has okay wrestling against the cage, but kind of like jiu-jitsu takedowns and isn't really a technical wrestler. He does have good back takes so he can get on top and he could finish the fight, but I don't see him being able to get on top of Silveria. And if Silveria gets on top of him, he can easily control him. I don't necessarily know if he could finish him, but could probably dominate. And on the feet, I think Monty has a questionable chin too, so even if it's close for a little bit because Monty's pressuring him and landing some shots, I think Silverio, if he can land clean and once he gets his timing, can maybe even hurt and take out Monty, especially with those knees in close. I think that could be a potential shot that ends the fight. So I'm going to go Silverio. I'm going to pick him by KO TKO in this one. And I think this should be a pretty comprehensive win for him. And in this next one, we got Bubba Jenkins, one of the dark horses, or I guess not one of the dark horses, one of the favorites to potentially win the tournament again this year. He's always one of the guys that's around the top. Last year, he ended up losing to Brendan Lofton and couldn't get it done in the finals. But he had a pretty dominant victory over Chris Wade in his first fight this season. And Sung Bin Jo, he is a guy that fought in the PFL before when he fought Tyler Diamond in 2021, and he lost that fight. He had a fight outside the PFL against kind of a random guy and got the job done, and now he's back in the PFL in a big-time spot. But, man, I mean, I don't have a lot to say about this one. Sung Bin Jo, he's a guy that has long levers, and he has a chance to maybe land a counter 1-2, counter 2, counter knee or something, front kick up the middle and get that kind of hoorah KO. But when you're getting taken down with double legs by Daniel Tamer and held down, when you're getting out wrestled by Tyler Diamond, who that guy's no joke as a wrestler, but you're getting taken down by him and out grappled, and Diamond doesn't necessarily have the greatest top game at that point, especially, I don't believe. And Jenkins, I think one of the best wrestlers in MMA. He very athletic, southpaw. He's going to be able to close that gap and do what he has to do, get the takedowns. And his striking is also improved, so if he wants to keep it on the feet for a little bit, he can do that too and be safe. And then I think he can get the back of Sung Bin Jo and make it a quick night. I'm going to pick Bubba Jenkins by first round sub in this fight, and I think he's going to get it done pretty easy. And with this fight, I mean, you see the line with Martin Hamlet minus 1250. You kind of know what's up. Kind of a squash match here. At Sam Key, he is dangerous because these guys are big guys, and Key is a powerful puncher. So if he can land early with the 3-2s or 2-3s, he has nice body hooks too, then maybe he could do something, but his wrestling deficiency is just a glaring hole. He has no real grappling off his back. He's tough, and he's put in some work to get down to 205. You could really tell his body is a lot different, but Hamlet, very aggressive guy, great wrestling. He's going to put him against the cage and probably take him down really early in the fight. And I think the best bet to target here is the under, because Hamlet, if he gets on top, is going to be dominant with the ground and pound, with the pressure. And I think he can end up getting him out of there before 7.5 minutes. So Hamlet, I think he's going to be able to hit the takedowns, show why he's a minus 1250, exploit Key on the ground, and get him out of there. So I'm going to go with Hamlet via first round KO, TKO, or submission on the ground. And this is one of the few fights where I think there is a live underdog at a really big price tag with Tyler Diamond. Tyler Diamond is a guy that's a little underrated in my opinion. He has really good wrestling. He's super tough, durable. He comes in good shape, but he hasn't fought in a while. I don't really know what he's been doing. And he's taking on a bad motherfucker named Marley Kovalev, who's another one of these daggy guys, very explosive. On the feet, he's improved his striking. He's gotten a little bit more aggressive. He still can be low volume at times, but comes forward, throws heat. And Tyler Diamond is a guy that is a little bit hittable at times, so he has to be real careful about that left hook and the overhand from Kovalev. But in terms of slickness, Diamond is the better striker. He has good in-and-out movement. He throws feints, nice jabs, 1-2s, 1-1-2s. He can kind of manipulate distance well and land those counters. And if he can get his range, he could potentially make it a difficult fight because I don't see Kovalev being able to just take this guy down and out wrestle him, out grapple him. One thing Diamond has to do, though, is he has to land some heat early and he has to not get backed up against the cage and held against the cage because I don't think Kovalev is going to be able to hold him down, but he could potentially hold him against the fence and burn clock that way, and Diamond just has to be aware of that. Tyler Diamond has a really nice single. He could chain wrestle. He has good front chokes. And the guy, if they grapple, it's going to be a really fun scramble fest here. But just because Diamond, he hasn't been active, I don't know what he's been doing. And he's gotten hurt really badly in his last couple fights, like his fight with Lofton, his fight with Sungbin Joe, who we just talked about. He got dropped in that one too. But he is a decent underdog. I feel like if I had more confidence in what he'd been doing in camp, what he'd been doing during the layoff, his striking has gotten better. He is like 32 too, so it's not like he's super young. Then maybe I would pick him outright, but I'm still going to pick Kovalev, and I think he could win by knockout potentially. Diamond's never been finished. He's super hard to take out, so probably will be a decision, but he has taken a lot of damage lately. Kovalev cracks, and he can explode in and land one of those shots, but yeah, I think it's going to be closer, and it's going to play out like a scrappy fight. It still may be one-sided a little bit, but I think Diamond will have a good showing. But I'm going to pick Kovalev. And then finally, we got the main event here. We got Brendan Lofton taking on Jesus Pinedo, and pretty easy fight in my opinion for Lofton. It's a good matchup. When you look at Pinedo, he's really low volume, and sometimes he'll pick it up, but it has way too many moments of inactivity. He lets guys back him up and kind of dictate the fight. If he pressured more and made it more of a war, he could make it more competitive. He is better on the inside. Like, if these guys just stood in front of each other and traded, I think Lofton has a big power advantage, so it kind of could sway it a little bit. But Pinedo throws better combinations, and he probably has faster hand speed on the inside. Like, he go body head, and he throws long combos. Brendan Lofton, he more kind of likes to pot shot you from the outside with like 1-2 shot attacks, but he's fast. He controls distance well. He has that upright stance, and he has a good ability to kind of just pot shot you. With this one, he is going to be at a reach disadvantage, and he struggled more with strikers than wrestlers and grapplers in the PFL recently. Like his fight with Ryoji Kudo, he got dropped. He got beat up against Ego Huskick. That was a close fight. But he's been able to kind of dominantly win against Bubba Jenkins, against Chris Wade. And I do think he had some injuries, though, because he was wearing knee braces and things like that. So ultimately, he's probably in a way better spot right now. He just won the million. He's going to be looking to become a $2 million man. And I don't think Jesus Pinedo is going to get in his way. I don't think he has the power to stop Lofton. I don't think he has the consistency in his offense and volume to kind of beat Lofton in a decision, and I think this is just going to be a decision fight where Lofton dictates the pace with his pressure, does a little more, lands some counters, and makes Pinedo kind of respect his power, and it kind of settles into kind of being a slow-paced fight, and I think Lofton will win the decision in that one, so I'm going with Lofton to get the job done and become 2-0 in the PFL this season and get one step closer to his goal of winning $1 million again. But there you have it, guys. That's a full card breakdown and predictions for PFL 4, which is going to be going down tomorrow. It's not going to be Friday. It's not going to be Saturday. It's going to be on a Thursday. So make sure you remember that and check it out. And if you want access to the bets, I do have 4 bets on this PFL card, then you know where to go. Patreon.com/MMAPredictionGuru. Really appreciate everyone that's been over there supporting, and really appreciate everyone that does that because it helps keep the channel going. So thanks for watching this video, guys. I'm going to be back soon with UFC pay-per-view breakdown, so be on the lookout for that, and I'll talk to you guys later.